The scoring champ from the top against Marion. Durant, pull-up jumper, up the rim, and
This is the Limitless Range podcast. I am your third favorite host, producer Doug. I've got our other hosts on the line, Corey and Pete, both on the phone. Corey, how you doing today?
Good, man. Missing being in the podcast studio with you fellas chatting ball, but down here in Dallas, Texas with my family, so can't complain about that. Just enjoying life and enjoying the vacay.
Heck yeah, that sounds good to me. What about you, Pete? What are you doing?
Good, man. Good. Just watching some sports, hanging out, the usual.
Hey, that's what we do. So, well, I'll get right into it. We've got a few things that we can talk about this week. And we're going to make it a little quicker since I'm the only one sitting here in the studio. But, of course, Corey, we all wanted to talk to you about what happened to Jusuf Nurkic. Suffered a pretty gruesome leg injury this past week. He's going to be out for the rest of the season and probably a bunch of next season as well. Were you watching that game when it happened, Corey?
Oh, man. Disgusting. Yeah, I was. It was double OT game against the Brooklyn Nets the other night, and I was up laying in bed because I got the game on my phone, and I was like, man, is this game gonna end? And double OT comes. I'm like, all right, I gotta go upstairs. So I started watching on my phone, and I couldn't tell live, exactly what had happened until I saw everyone freaking out, and I was just like, man, that looks pretty serious. And then I had to look up the replay and stuff real quick, and yeah, man, it's nasty. I feel bad for the dude. He's a good man, good basketball player, and great for the organization. It's a tough loss for us for sure.
Yeah, he'd been having a great season, that's for sure. And of course, you guys already had CJ McCollum go out with an injury earlier. I'm sure you'd know more than I on when he's coming back from that and what's going on there. But yeah, what is that going to do with their playoff hopes? I mean, they're going to be in the playoffs. We're still working out the seeding, but without Nurkic, what do you think that does to this team? Who's going to step in? What are they going to have to do?
Yeah, man, it's definitely a big loss. Obviously, CJ being out, at least for the next, 4 or 5 games, I would assume they would just shut him down, maybe try to bring him back with one game before the playoffs or something like that, or they might just wait all the way till game one. So it's going to be kind of a little bit interesting to see how he comes back and plays. Obviously, losing Nurkic is massive. The addition of Ernest Cantor now becomes a massive thing. He's a beast, and without him, we'd have been starting, Zach Collins or Myers Leonard, which I love Zach, but he's not, he can't do what Ennis can, and I feel like Zach's the type of dude that can come off the bench and give you some good minutes and really, bring the energy that you look for off the bench. But the problem is, the big problem we're losing now is on the defensive side. CJ and Dame are not known as great defensive point guards or defensive guards. Sorry, they're obviously littler guards. They're not lengthy. And so we've always struggled a little bit there, but Nurkic has kind of helped us with the inside presence, and we've lost that. And as much as Enes Kanter is a beast on the offensive rebounding end and just defense rebounds in general, and obviously he can score for us, he can set big screens, but really the big thing between him and Nurkic we lost was that presence in the paint. Enes Kanter's not really the greatest defender, not the greatest shot blocker, and so that's going to be a massive loss for us. I still have high hopes. I think it's going to come down to, seeding a little bit and where we fall. Right now, I think we're a half game back from third with Houston. We were ahead of them, last night or a couple nights ago. We lost to Detroit last night, and that kind of dropped us down. But if we can grab the 3 seed and get to play like the Clippers in the first round, I think that's a matchup that we definitely would still be able to take down even without Nurkic. But, yeah, getting in with the big boys, you know, the Rockets will be a tough one. Thunder would be a tough one. And then obviously, you know, with that, hopeful that maybe we can spark some magic against the Warriors, I think without Nurkic is, definitely going to be pretty tough. We're going to see that usage rate that I talked about from Dame Dollar in the last podcast, but I hope to see what he can do with it. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do in the playoffs.
Well, yeah, that counts for a lot. And yeah, I was wondering what you thought, Corey, because you're the super fan, of course, and we all like the Blazers, but a little more outside or objective look. What do you think, Pete? I mean, does this guarantee that they're not winning a playoff round, or do you agree with Corey that, I mean, even without Nurkic, depending on the matchup, they could get out of that first round, could beat a couple of those teams?
You know, I honestly, it's crazy, man. You almost could say like Corey jinxed his team, you know, a little bit, right? Like with the whole Harden thing. It's like now Lillard's getting that, almost that Harden situation, you know, where it's like he's going to have the ball a shit ton, you know, in these next few games. And then maybe in the beginning of the playoffs if CJ's not back. And I'm just curious, like, what he's going to do with it, man. I mean, I've always liked Lillard, and I'm really curious, is he going to perform and, like, kind of just carry them? You know, I was looking, you know, sometimes I try to look at the box score. I haven't been paying too much attention to it now that I'm out of fantasy playoffs, but I saw Lillard was shooting pretty poorly, like the first game without Nurkic, and then I think yesterday he was shooting kind of poorly too. I think he kind of recovered a little bit. I don't remember how it finished. Corey would probably know better than me, but I was just wondering, like, man, I'm really hoping, like, his efficiency, like his, you know, the way he's playing and stuff wasn't, you know, he wasn't relying a lot on Nurkic, you know, like on the screen game, the screen and roll, you know, because I feel like they're going to need him to be really good and shooting around at least 43, 44% for them to go anywhere. You know, if he's shooting 40% in the playoffs, I just can't see them winning a series that way, you know, like not without Nurkic. And, you know, I guess if CJ maybe goes off and comes back healthy, but for them to win, you know, Lillard's going to have to average like, you know, 25 plus points, shooting like 43, 44%, maybe even more than 25. So if he could do those things, I think it'd be good. But I honestly think right now his percentage without Nurkic, I think those 3 games, I'm guessing it's probably under 40% if I added all the shots together. I didn't do that, but I just saw he shot poorly in a couple of those games. So how's that going to affect him? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, Pete's definitely spot on. He certainly hasn't shot well. He shot well. He was effective in the Atlanta game the other night. And then last night, Detroit, you know, obviously not to give him a pass or anything. It's a back-to-back on the road and stuff. So I know that those can definitely shake up some numbers. But Pete hit the nail on the head on the fact that Nurkic screens, man. I've read a lot and I've heard a lot and I've seen a lot of just knowing that the impact that Nurkic has and the things that he does to open things up for not only Lillard but for CJ as well. And now, yeah, the pick and roll isn't the same. He's getting a couple of different coverages than he's used to. You know, they're not having to worry about CJ, but now they're not really having to worry as much about Enes Kanter rolling to the hole as they did with Nurkic. And Enes Kanter set some big screens, but just not quite as solid as Nurkic, so that, you know, a lot of people don't really understand that half second is a big thing in basketball. You know, Lillard a lot of times comes off that screen and shoots really quickly as he turns the corner from like the top of the key. And, just that half second difference of a defender being able to get a hand a little bit closer is the difference from like wide open and the difference from like a guy almost about to tip the ball, you know, and that definitely plays a factor. So yeah, I'm with Pete. I'm really curious to see what Dame's going to do with it, you know, and I talked to Pete about this the other day. Obviously Dame's on my fantasy team. So I'm like, come on, man, I need you to go for like 50 every night. But the interesting thing about Dame is like, it's weird. He's kind of like that Kevin Durant, you know, and obviously Kevin Durant puts up better numbers all the time because he's just much more of an efficient player and shooter. But when Dame's cold, he doesn't throw up 30 plus shots. You're not seeing a 30-point game. Like if Lillard's cold, you'll see like a 14 or a 12-point game or a 15-point game just because he doesn't really shoot as much as some of these superstars like Harden or Westbrook. But he also just like loves to get his teammates like involved. And I don't mean just like driving and kicking. Like I mean like, here, Seth, you go ahead and isolate. Or like, here, Harkless in the corner, I trust you to go do this. Or like, here, let me feed the ball. If you watch like his first quarters, it's really usually like he is just like letting his team get confidence. And I don't know, Lillard's like a super team guy. And I think that's sometimes where he struggles. Like coming in this playoffs, like he needs to separate, hey, I got to get my team involved. But he's also got to like be like, hey, I got to be selfish and be a killer, because if he's not, Pete's right. I mean, I think it definitely could possibly be another first round exit, but I don't know. I think if we get matched up with the Clippers, especially, I don't know, that team doesn't really scare me. So maybe I'm going to jinx us again, but I don't think that team, even with just Dame, I just don't think that team should be able to beat us. But hey, I didn't think New Orleans should beat us last year either, and we got smoked. So you never know.
Well, Corey, then putting you on the spot right off the top of your head, even with this Nurkic injury giving kind of an out or an excuse or an asterisk, do you think if they get smoked in the first round again, who's going to go? Do you think they fire the coach or they break up the backcourt? What are they going to do?
Oh man, that's a great question. Yeah, no, definitely. I don't see Terry. I don't see Terry Stotts going anywhere. I don't think they're going to do that. I could definitely see a CJ type of move. It's probably like what I would personally be rooting for as a massive fan. It's obviously going to be tough because we don't know what it's going to look like with Nurkic coming back, how long it's going to take and things like that. So next year could even be a little bit iffy. Honestly, it comes down to, and I know everybody kind of hates on Portland for like not going after superstars and stuff, but to me, you know, all belief in Dame and what Dame wants, because even though from a fan's point of view, trading CJ for, let's say, a guy like Anthony Davis, or we get a guy like that in the building and it would be nice, if it's going to upset Damian Lillard, like, let's not do it. Like, I'm cool riding and dying with Dame Dollar, you know, and I don't want to see, because if they trade CJ and Dame's like, what, man? Like, you guys aren't loyal? Man, all right, whatever. Like, that could be me next. And maybe Dame will start to flip that in his head, like, well, man, I mean, this organization ain't that loyal. You know, I really wanted to be loyal, but at the same time, like, that could be my neck cut at any second. And if he starts feeling that way, you know, especially with the ownership up in the air, like, to me, I'm like, if Dame wants to trade CJ and he thinks it's an okay idea, do it. If Dame wants to ride or die with the team we got, let's keep doing it. So, I mean,
that's a good outlook.
Not making playoffs.
Yeah.
So,
I kind of like what you're saying too, man. Like, they got to go with what Dame wants, and I also think there's going to be a lot of passes. You know, like, you could look at because I mean, how can you really judge the coach losing Nurkic this close to the playoffs? You know, it's going to be really hard to judge. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they lose in 7 in the first round, it's like, well, shit. If they had Nurkic, they probably would have won that series, and who knows how far they would have went. You know, I mean, I know injuries happen, but he's a huge piece. I mean, he's averaging like, you know, double-digit points, you know, freaking double-digit rebounds, blocks, steals, the defensive presence, the hard screens, like you were saying, like all that stuff's huge. And I can't, it'd be hard for me as an owner to be like, man, how'd you not win, man? You lost. I mean, I think he's the second most important player behind Dame, in my opinion. So, I mean, I think he's more important than CJ. So, I mean,
agreed.
You lose your second most important player, and you know, like, how'd you not, I mean, imagine going to any franchise right now and being like, yo, Rockets, why didn't you win, man? Chris Paul was out? Like, or, you know, how come the Warriors didn't run through everybody with Steph? I mean, even the Warriors would be harder for them to, you know, go win if Steph was out, you know? So any franchises that lose their second best player, it's really hard to envision them, like, playing to the full level that we kind of all were hoping to see, you know?
Well, I really like that low key, making sure everyone knows that Steph Curry is the second most important player on the Warriors beat. But
I love it.
So moving on. Right? No, I agree. Moving on to more news coming here at the very end of the season. Kind of speaking of these final games going to the playoffs. You know, as of this recording, Lakers only have 6 games left, I think, this season, 5 or 6 games. And they announced that LeBron James is going to be shut down for the remainder of the season. And of course, we all want to know what you think of that. We were all kind of predicting it or trying to see when it would happen, how they were going to do this. But Pete, what do you think this says about LeBron or just about these superstars in general? I mean, there's a few games left. They're out of the playoffs. But, I mean, they say, to prevent further injury or some BS like that. What do you think about this, Pete?
I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're going to hear about it.
I think LeBron probably had to take it to the Bahamas and was like, yeah, man, I would go a little bit earlier. Like, I don't care, bro. I think it's a joke. I mean, the whole issue with the doctor posting, about his 6-month injury. You guys remember that, right? We talked about that amongst each other. I just feel.
Well, what happened? What happened, Pete? Explain to the listeners what's going on there.
Well, basically, whatever physician that worked on him, she basically said that, LeBron's injury was, any player it would have been 6 months, but he just loved the Lakers so much, and he was trying so hard to be there for his team, just grinding through it. Oh, he's so precious. And then, my boy, Deezy, one of our, basically part of the show with us, he basically said that, he made a good point. I was at work with him, and he basically was like, dude, that, you can't just release that without LeBron's permission. And that's so true. That you can't release information about your patient like that without their consent. So LeBron had to have given her an okay.
Confidentiality.
Yeah. Or she'd be fired. She'd be held liable. That's a big deal. She would lose a lot of clients. Or, she's probably gaining it with, the LeBron exposure. But the point I'm trying to make is she, it's against the law for her to do that. So for her to do that, that means LeBron, in my opinion, LeBron went to her, which is exactly what Dan was saying, and basically said, hey, you should do this. And she did it. It was a win-win for both of them. He's like, LeBron probably told her, this is going to make me look good, and then everybody will know that you're representing me, which will get you a lot more clients. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, what was that? Was that last year's finals or the year before when suddenly, of course, right when the finals were over, LeBron had a cast or something like that? He's in a sling. Where it was like, oh yeah, by the way, I was injured. What?
Yeah, what he said is he broke his hand.
Yeah, that's right.
That he had a bruise. Basically, he had a bruised hand. So, come on, man. A broken hand, it's such a different context. This guy loves to make excuses, bro. And this whole, he's playing, but he's not playing, and then now they're holding him out. When they should have shut him down as soon as they knew they were out of playoff contention, he should have been shut down. But of course, this guy wants to stat pad a little bit more, trying to chase Kareem, So, it just makes no sense, man. It's just all the LeBron show. I can't stand watching it. He's a hypocrite, and he'll do anything to make himself look better. And I'm going to say it like it is, man. That's the truth.
What do you think, Corey? So is he stat padding, or is he just preparing for Space Jam 2? What do you think's going on here?
I think the dude's just a joke in general, to be honest. Pete hit it. Preach, brother. Pete hit it, exactly again. I don't know what it is. I don't know why all of a sudden now. I don't really know what goes on in this guy's head. I'm sure he came up with some elaborate plan that this will make him look even better, and I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't get his thinking, to be honest. And I thought it was pretty ironic. I saw on Instagram, because I follow him just so I can hate on him, just like the rest of us do.
Well, hate follow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of us out there, but, he posted a picture of him dunking against Charlotte, and he posted some up and away, some super washed, ain't he? He was talking in third person, and then he's just basically saying you guys stay low and keep firing, he's on top of the world kind of thing, as Pete shared all the time, how he always, he's up here and we're all down here kind of thing. And I thought it was kind of ironic that he's making fun of people who say he's washed up, and then the same day he's getting shut down for the rest of the year.
Right.
Bro, we ain't wrong. Like, why you hate? What do you mean, bro? You're making fun of us when you're like, clearly you're a little washed up, dude. You can't even finish the season, and man, just like Pete said, I don't know, man. Like, just take your L's, dude. Like, I'm cool with you wanting praise when you're winning and being cocky, and it is what it is. But, like, I feel like one of the things that, I just didn't see from Kobe especially and MJ and those things is like, yeah, those are some cocky-ass dudes too. And they wanted the praise when they won. But, like, when they lost, I just felt like there wasn't all this, like, drama that, like, tried to steer us away from their losses. Like, just take an L, man. Like, your season sucked. We don't need to hear all your excuses, all your doctor visits, whatever you got going on in your life. I don't need all that. Just be like, we got our damn ass kicked this year. We'll come back next year, and that's it. And I just feel like this dude is just a constant, like, media stirring, getting us away from the real point of, he basically he is washed up. I don't give a shit what his Instagram says. So I think at the end of the day, I think Pete's probably right. He got to the point where he was just like, I don't even feel like playing anymore. I got enough stats for the year. I added it up. I can still get number one in points by the end of my career. I think I can go ahead and take these last games off and I'll be fine. I think that's probably what it came down to. And finally Magic was like, okay, good. We wanted you to shut down, like Pete said at the, right when we didn't make the playoffs, but now you're finally ready. Our liability is ready to sit down. We're good with it. And I think that's what it came down to. So good luck in Space Jam 2. That's about the only thing you're going to be, it's probably not even going to be good anyways, but the only thing he's going to be, I feel like at this point, man, the only thing we can look forward to with that dude. He ain't going nowhere.
Well, bro, let me play before you jump in. I'm with you. First off, on Space Jam, who the hell wants to see a movie where the basketball savior of the world is like the 12th best player in the world? Like, Jordan did it. He was the best player in the world. Seriously. That's what made the movie cool. And all those other stars that played on the other team or whatever, Charles Barkley and all them, they were cool with it because they knew Jordan was the best. So how the hell is LeBron going to beat Steph, KD, freaking Greek Freak, Joel Embiid, like a team of that? How the hell is LeBron going to beat when he's worse than all them now? Movie makes no sense.
That's
now.
a great
what
point.
I mean?
He should have played.
So I don't understand the concept of that. And then you said LeBron posted a picture of him dunking. No one questions his damn dunking. Why this idiot is posting a picture of himself dunking? It's like, bro, we all know you can dunk. You post a picture of you checking Kevin Durant because that's what you're missing. We don't see you playing defense anymore. Show us a picture of that. Show us a picture of you checking somebody, getting up in their grill, and fucking playing some defense. That's the issue we have, bro. Like, we know you can dunk still. Like, Jesus.
Well, as a not a LeBron hater like you guys, but as a Lakers fan, I agree with that. That's for sure. See some defense out there, man. Well, what gets me, even besides the sideshow of, it being LeBron and his doctor stuff, just this generally accepted thing that these superstars will just be shut down like that. I mean, my phone's been going off all week with Twitter notifications about guys being shut down, no one as big as LeBron. But, Corey, like if it was Dame and you guys were, we're mathematically out of the playoffs now, there's only 10 games left, just shut him down. Would you be upset by that? Or, a lot of people, some fans nowadays, they say they're smarter, they're protecting their investment and whatnot, but it would just it gets to me. I don't like it. It makes sure that everyone knows these guys don't think the regular season matters at all, unless you're going to make the playoffs. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, man. It's an interesting take. If it was, Portland and Dame, I've said it a bunch, so, I stand by it. I keep preaching it. I want these dudes just to continue playing ball. I know it's a risky thing, but at the same time, it's always a risk, and you just never know. And I feel like the more we play, like, cautiously, and the more we just keep going down that route, it's like, it's just going to keep getting worse. And so, to me, I'm with you, man. I feel like, it's still about going out and hooping for the fans and hooping for your team and showing them that, to me that you're not any better than they are, and that's why I've always liked guys like Damian Lillard and Kevin Durant and dudes like that. Is I feel like they might get a rest day from their organization and stuff, but I just don't see these dudes doing something like this. Like I just wouldn't picture them doing it, and the same thing. It looks like Karl Anthony Towns and whatnot. It seems like dudes like that care about their teammates to the point where you're not any better. Like, I feel like by doing that, LeBron looks like it's like, okay, well, my career means more than any of your guys'. I know you guys are kind of still playing for your family and stuff, but like, honestly, bro, your $3 million contract, you're pretty much playing for like working at Mickey D's next year. So just go out there and keep playing for the Lakers, and I'll be back next season. Like, so where does it stop? Just because he's the biggest the payroll, is that what it is? Whoever's at the top, you just get to go ahead and, take days off when things don't go well, and the rest of the dudes have to keep grinding for the rest of the season. I mean, none of those guys want to play. I mean, let's be honest, they're freaking getting laughed at. It's drama down there. LeBron stirs the media. They're already out of the playoffs. I mean, I bet most of them want to be in the Bahamas, like Pete said. I mean, I'm sure all of them are like, man, I wish the season just ended right now. Like, I'm kind of done with this season. We can't make the playoffs. So why is it that LeBron gets a free ride the rest of the year? Like, he gets to just chill and do whatever he wants, eat whatever he wants, drink wine on Wednesdays because he didn't have to play Thursday. Like, why? Why does he get that special treatment?
This coming from the guy who's down there at Dallas on vacation right now. What are you talking about, Corey?
And I'm still calling into the show, still participating.
Right. Yeah, true.
Right?
True.
I could have been like, hey, let's just shut this down for the next couple weeks. At the end of the year, I'm kind of, I'm tired. But then I would have posted a picture on Instagram of me with the mic and been like, yo, guys, I'm still legit. Like, no, bro.
Exactly.
I'm 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm wondering too, like what LeBron's gonna do, bro. Like is he even gonna finish? Like, I bet you he's not gonna be in the damn stadium, bro. He's gonna be in the Bahamas. You know, like I'm just wondering. I better see his ass sitting in the, in the bench with his suit, his gator suit, and his gator luggage, and gator shoes or whatever. Sitting there, fucking.
I'm sure he will.
I mean, if he's not there, bro, that's a bitch move.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's only a few games left. Yeah, that's true. That'd be a well-calculated move.
Well, yeah, just, Greek. Okay, like, I find it funny, like, how LeBron, like, he was almost, I feel like he was even choosing what games he wanted to sit out. Like, when guys sit out, they sit out games. Like, it's like, okay, back-to-back, that makes sense, whatever. Like, tell me why LeBron playing Charlotte and played all these bummy-ass teams he could still drop stats on, but when he's got the Greek Freak coming to town, the number one defense, he's taking a night off. Find that a little ironic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of funny?
That's
like,
a great
when you
point.
want Greek Freak to check him, and then people to be like, oh, the new LeBron, this guy's better than him. Look at him tee LeBron up. And I'm sure Greek sat out of that game with an ankle injury and was going to play as LeBron played, meaning he was excited to check that fool. You know what I mean? Like, he wanted to play against LeBron. He wanted to guard him. And he probably would have shut him down. So, I mean, like, it's kind of funny to me, man. Like, this guy has so much power, bro. He can pick and choose what games he wants to play. He's a master manipulator, bro. Like, he manipulates us with the media. He's got this doctor posting that thing to manipulate his LeBron sexuals into thinking that, oh my God, he's so tough. Look at him. He played through a broken hand. He played through a groin injury that should have cost him 6 months. Like, dude, okay, I'm going to tell you something right now, bro. And this is straight fact, okay? 100%. Everybody that has played sports here will agree with me. If you fucking have an injury that's going to cost you 6 months, right? And you're playing through it, dude, for your team. You're fucking grinding through the pain. It's so painful, bro. It's a 6-month injury. You're playing through it. I promise you, the second they say you're done in the playoffs, you're done. You're done. You're crawling to the locker room and saying, I gave it my best, man. We got no shot, but I got to shut it down, man. This 6-month groin injury was too much. I fought through it, made it worse, and I still played for my team. And LeBron's not even the type of player that would ever do something like that, okay? That's first off. But let's just say he did do that. As soon as you're out of the fucking playoffs, you're done, dude. I promise you. Anyone with a 6-month injury would agree with me. You ain't gonna be like, I think I'm still gonna play. I like playing basketball. It's for the fans. You ain't gonna say none of that shit, bro. You're going to say, I gave it my best shot, man, and you're going to walk off. And everyone's going to respect that and believe that you had a 6-month injury. But see this whole little bullshit, bro, of you trying to play shitty teams and still trying to get your stats? Tell me you didn't have no motherfucking 6-month injury. And I know that as an athlete. And any athlete that listens to this podcast or ever fucking played a sport, 100% would agree with me. That's fact.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's true and you want a chance of taking that team back into playoff contention next year. You know, you want to be at your best, and you know that everyone would understand that. I hear that, Pete.
Damn, Petey, mic drop. Cue the brand.
Oof. Oh, it's been playing. Yeah, I'm almost kind of glad you aren't in front of this microphone right now. Jeez. Oof. Well, we'll take a quick break after that. Get Pete some rest, and we'll be right back. Talk about Zion. If you're looking for a great deal on authentic NBA jerseys and apparel, you've got to use the NBA Store. Limitless Range has partnered with the NBA Store to get you big discounts on real NBA gear, including up to 60% off all clearance items when you visit limitlessrangepodcast.com/store. Don't search the internet all day for cheap knockoffs or used jerseys. Get real, authentic apparel at really great prices. And support Limitless Range while you're doing it. Visit limitlessrangepodcast.com/store today and get everything you need to rep your favorite team. limitlessrangepodcast.com/store. Okay, so let's get back to it. Now, I had put a poll out on Twitter. I'm sure you guys want to talk some about Zion. I mean, we've got March Madness going on. As of this recording, Duke's going to be playing in a couple hours, so we'll see what happens after this recording, see if they move on into the Final Four. But, you know, at this point, there's only 2 number 1 seeds left. Duke's one of them. We put a poll out on Twitter about Zion, you guys, and I said, outside of the Knicks, which one of these top 5 lottery teams would you like to see get Zion? Where do you want to see Zion play? And that'd be out of Phoenix, Cleveland, Chicago, or Atlanta. And, you know, actually, the winner of the poll was Atlanta. Big time. They really ran away with it. And people were commenting, and we appreciate all the feedback. You know, seeing Zion with John Collins, Trae Young, Kevin Huerter could be a pretty decent team, especially in the East. I know that at one point we had talked about Zion in Phoenix, and I think that would be a pretty sweet team. But what do you guys think? Pete, what out of those 4, Phoenix, Cleveland, Chicago, or Atlanta, where would you like to see Zion the most if you had to pick?
You know, Atlanta does make a lot of sense. But the main reason is because out of all those teams, Atlanta is the only team that has a point guard that can get you 10, 11 assists. You know, someone that could really complement Zion's game with the pick and roll, especially since, you know, his range is limitless. You know, Trae Young's obviously showing that he can shoot from anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like that combination, if you ask me for a pairing, I like those 2 the best, like in terms of stars. Now, if you're asking me for a full team, I think Chicago would be interesting because you got Chris Dunn at point. He's not a high volume shooter. Okay, so that means more shots for Zion. You got Zach LaVine at the 2. Now he would be your pick and roll guy. He can kind of do what Trae Young is doing. Doesn't shoot as deep, but he's a very good 3-point shooter and a finisher at the rim. They could run some pick and roll, some pick and pop. Zion can work on his pop game, and that would be fun to watch. And then you have Lauri Markkanen pulling out the center because he's a stretch. You know, you could put him at the 4 or the 5. He'll be pulling out one of the bigs, which would allow space for Zion to operate. See, the problem with Atlanta, I don't really see, you know, Collins isn't really a shooter. So if you have them both in at the same time, that's gonna clog the paint. You see what I'm saying? So like if Zion runs pick and roll, the guy guarding Collins is gonna be sagging in the paint to help. But if that guy's guarding Lauri Markkanen, that's a different story, right? So more space for Zion to operate, which would be fun to watch. I kind of would like to see Chicago. It's a big market, you know, so he'd get a lot of coverage, you know, even though markets don't really matter with today's social media as much as they did in the past. I think that'd be a cool spot for him to go and build with those young guys. And I think he would instantly be the face of the franchise. There'd be no question. Like if he went to Phoenix or if he went to Atlanta, you still wouldn't know. You'd be like, is this Trae Young's team or Zion's team? If he went to Phoenix, it'd be like, you know, would Devin Booker stunt his growth? You know what I mean? And on paper, you'd be like, wow, Zion, Booker, Ayton, that's awesome. You know, another thing too is Ayton doesn't really shoot. So
yeah,
I don't really like that combination because now, you know, Ayton and Zion both not shooters. I think the best spacing and the best total package as a team you would get is in Chicago. For him, it would help him flourish the most. The best player to play with would be Trae Young. I won't argue that. So I can understand why Atlanta got so many votes, because people are just envisioning, wow, Trae Young and Zion, that'd be amazing, you know. So that's like where I'm standing with it.
That's a great point. I mean, I didn't even think about that with Chicago, Zion and Markkanen. That would be pretty great pairing out there on the court. Well, what do you think, Corey? I mean, is anyone going to stand up for Cleveland here, or are you thinking the same thing?
Yeah, no, definitely not. I definitely wouldn't want to see him go to Cleveland. LeBron just ruined that whole city, actually the whole damn state of Ohio for me. So I hope he doesn't end up there. You know, and just to touch on a little bit with March Madness, I'm really interested to see, you know, what Duke does. They've had, you know, obviously some close games. And it's interesting to see, you know, that they're, you know, a couple shots here, one shot here away from getting eliminated. And man, that team to me, and I know it comes down to chemistry and whatnot, but like when you really sit down and think about the dudes that team has, and you're like, okay, they got guaranteed number one on the team. They got most likely at least he's definitely going 2 or 3. Both, you know, last week we talked about it. We have him at 3, but R.J. Barrett, who could possibly go 2, and then you even have Cam Reddish, who's talked about as a potential top 5, probably like maybe 6 or 7 at the lowest. When do we see a team with this caliber of players? Usually, how often do you get a team that has 2 like top 3 or top 5 players on the same college team, let alone your third piece being a top 10 player? Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, they look like the Fab Five. It's crazy.
It's unbelievable, man. I feel like this team should not lose, dude. Like, oh, man. I mean, obviously there's some other stuff, the way they're built and different things, but, man, I would be shocked if they ended up losing. I feel like they shouldn't, but, I mean, I keep getting surprised because it keeps seeming like they're, you know, getting closer and closer to that. But to touch on with the question, man, Pete, you made some great points, dude. I think, Atlanta, you know, with Trae Young and obviously that pick and roll game in the limitless range, you know, shooting from Trae Young and just what Trae's been doing lately, he's really, you know, pushed himself into conversation at least with Luka for Rookie of the Year, and just really doing some things that I was surprised about. I mean, the dude's ugly as hell, but he can shoot, man, and I think that would be a super fun spot. But I think the cool part that I didn't even think of, and Pete, you said it, dude, is the fact that with that team and with Phoenix, and even if he ends up going to New York, right, and he probably would join some superstars out there, Chicago's like the one team, I guess Cleveland as well, but the team that, you're right, he would be the dude. And in those other cities, it wouldn't be his team. And I feel like it would be kind of weird to see a dude like Zion with this polarizing personality coming out of, you know, basically this dude that, like, I mean, I feel like the last guy since LeBron that's kind of come out where we're just like, holy crap, what is this guy going to do? And it'd be really weird to see, you know, him come into a city where it's like, he isn't the dude yet. So you're right, man. I think it would be kind of cool to see him in Chicago. At first I was kind of agreeing with the you know, our Twitter pull there and going kind of with Atlanta, but I think Pete kind of convinced me into thinking Chicago a little bit because I like that. And just what Pete said, they also have Otto Porter up there, who's another dude that can stretch the floor, that 3-and-D type of dude that you like. And with Laurie and Zach, and I like Chris Dunn as a point guard. I mean, me and Pete both talked about him early this year. Pete drafted him, and I was like, man, I kind of wanted him. We talked about even trading him in fantasy all year. So I've always been a Chris Dunn kind of fan, maybe more than some people are. So, yeah, I think that would be a great spot. I'm just curious to see where he lands, man. I still have hopes that I still hope it's New York with some stars and see what they can fly in NYC, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, and the other team that's right outside that top 5 that we had a few commenters in our replies saying, hey, but Mavs are still tanking away, trying to get into that top 5 as well. And I think that could be a fun team too, to be on the Mavericks. Could be. Pete, what do you think that fit would be? Now that I'm thinking about it, on the Dallas Mavericks, I mean, we got Kristaps, Doncic, man.
It'd be nasty. I mean, it'd be similar to Chicago, except I like Doncic, Luka way better than any of the players. And obviously, another thing, Zion wouldn't be the face on that team. It'd be Luka. He's kind of established himself as the face of the franchise, and what he's already done. So, but I mean, the pick and roll game would be sick with Porzingis facing it, pulling the center out.
God.
But I mean, there's an issue there too because I don't know if you guys heard about this, but Porzingis is being accused of rape.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
Might not be playing basketball. So I mean, if you're telling me Porzingis isn't on the team, I don't like it as much, But so.
Well, I thought Kobe wasn't Kobe allowed to do
right?
Nah.
This is 2019, Corey. Come on,
Settle down,
Kobe
Doug.
rape jokes.
Doug doesn't want to hear this about his idol.
I've heard it enough.
I'm not bad. I knew it, Dougie. I just had to throw it in there for you. I'm not in the studio, so we can't talk crap to you as much. I had to throw something in there.
Oh, I know. No, I appreciate it. What do you think, Corey? Outside of rape allegations, I mean, the Mavs are kind of out there. They would still have a chance of getting him, but I'm sure, as we all know, with probably a 2% chance of the number 1 pick, it'll probably go to the Lakers, right? And we'll just stop that conversation there. But
right.
Well, let's see how it plays out. I wonder if next week, if we're talking about Duke trying to get into the championship, or if we're talking about how that non-team chemistry dynamic really didn't get him into the Final Four. We'll have to see. I'm sure when people are listening, they're going to know already.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to touch on with the Dallas thing too, obviously we don't know exactly what's going on with this Porzingis situation, the severity of it, but just the combination of those two, if they were able to play, I mean, think about the defensive side with those two, man. That would be nasty. Oof. Zion and Porzingis, freaking, oh man. Like the help defense with those two would be unbelievable, right?
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
One more thing
I don't
to
know.
point out. I was gonna say just I want Zion to go to the East. That's another thing because it'd be cool to see him on Phoenix and Dallas, but it's like at the same time it's like the West is already a gauntlet. Let's not add another gauntlet powerhouse to the freaking West when he could go to the East and turn Chicago into a gauntlet. He's so much cooler, or Atlanta, or help New York become relevant. I'd much rather see that. I'm really praying for an East team. I just think it makes the most sense. It would make an East team relevant, which we all want parity, right? We want more competition. So it'd be awesome to just add an East team and to making them relevant in the playoff contention. We could realistically argue that if Zion goes to Dallas or goes to Phoenix, there's a chance that he might not even make the playoffs in the West,
Right. Yeah, you look at the teams that are out, and Sacramento, Minnesota, the Lakers, and then on top of that, improving it, one of those other teams, Dallas, Phoenix, stuff like that, it would just be even more stacked than before. That's a really good point. That wraps it up. Corey's got vacationing to do, huh?
Yeah, my wife keeps opening the door like, hey, are you almost done? And been here trying to rant about LeBron and Dame and everything. So I better get going before I get my ass beat. But I had to get in this with you guys, man. Unlike LeBron, I try not to take any days off. So
Yeah, good shit, man. Way to make it out there. It was actually, man, I feel like we actually had fun and actually got into it a lot better than I thought we would on the phone.
yeah, me too, man. Pete, good rant, dude. Hell yeah, that was sweet.
Oh, thanks, bro. Thanks. Appreciate it. Hey, have fun in Dallas.
you
You gonna catch the game out there? We didn't even ask you that.
Oh, dude, I was
See Luka?
thinking about it, man. I was thinking about going tomorrow night, possibility, but I don't know if it'll happen. I would love to see Dirk, man, and they're playing Philly. It'd be cool.
Dude, that'd be sick.
It would be sick, although
Dude.
Embiid's on like load management for the next 9 years, so he's not playing. That really kind of shut me down a little bit.
Wow.
That would be
Another reason why players sitting down all the time kills fans from getting to go watch them play and do all these awesome things is like, I mean, obviously they can't do everything for just me, but I'm down here to be like, oh, cool to see Embiid, but it's like, nah, load management. So, but I think honestly, the biggest draw to me would be to see Dirk. I've never seen Dirk live, and it's the last year. That would just be dope in itself. But also Ben Simmons and Tobias and, JJ and things would be cool too. Well, as always, man, appreciate it, Doug. Good job hosting up there, man. Appreciate you putting in the work to do that.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys next week.
Yep. All right. Peace. Rip City.
All right. And of course, you can always get a hold of Limitless Range at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at @1Limitless Range, or go to our website, limitlessrangepodcast.com.